everyone. How are you guys doing today? It is your one and only Nicole LaTreece. I know I am coming to you guys at a different time today, right? And I know that I did not give very much lead up to this new time change, but it is something that I honestly have to do. So the Sunday sit down will still be on Sundays, but it'll have to move to an earlier time because I've been afforded some great opportunities here lately with my baking business, one of which happens on Sundays, every Sunday. And it's from 6 until into the evening time. I'll tell you guys about that here in just a moment. But the Sunday sit down does have to move to a new time. I will be doing it during the day at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time every Sunday. Y'all will have to come sit down with your girl a little early. Hopefully you get out of church at the right time. But if you don't, this will always, be available. You can catch it for as long as Facebook is willing to host it. I think it's for about 30 days after this discussion. And then also on my YouTube channel, Forever Nicole LaTreece, it always lives there. So if you missed out on any of the good conversations and good opportunities to connect with your girl, just know that you haven't missed out on it completely. You'll just have to look for it earlier here and then catch up with me when you can on the other avenue, which is YouTube. But nothing else about the Sunday sit down platform is going to change. We are staying the same. Y'all know I come to y'all and I'm here to have conversations about the things that we need to talk about, the things that are being talked about behind closed doors. Let's bring them out into the light, honey, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in this world. And I'm pretty sure within your community that you would like to have a space to be able to come together and talk about all these things. Now, I will have to say, if you hear the jingling in the background, it is one of my animals. They just be doing their little animal thing. I can't make them be quiet, but yeah, y'all are coming into my real life as I've told you on many a time. So, this is what being in my real life looks like. So, tonight we are going to talk about. I had to take notes because my mind was just like running and running and running, right? So, I wanted to make sure that I could get all of this stuff down so I could make it a point to engage with each and every one of you on this conversation on this specific topic because uh it is something that really needs to be talked about. Now, you guys know that for my own personal self, I don't really like discuss a whole lot of y'all give me a second. Let me see. Try and teach her how to bake some cookies. Then it's 24. You should be able to fill up that pen.
Thank you for not being mad.
Okay, come on. Close the door.
I thought I did something wrong.
You're good. She's learning, y'all. So yes, tonight I want to talk about this topic. Y'all know that for me, I don't really just discuss my current relationship or lack thereof status. Y'all know I'm not in one. And I've talked about my previous experiences with a guy that I was talking to for almost 2 years and how didn't end up working out. And then before that, I was married for 5 years together with my ex husband for a total of 12. So, y'all know a little bit about your girl's history. But just because I haven't fully been immersed in the game, as I like to say, because y'all be out here playing games, some people. I'm still sitting back and I'm observing, right? I have to be aware of what is going on within this society, what is going on within this world, so that then when I get back officially into the dating game, I have a more improved sense of self, of my desires of a significant other, of my desires of where I want my life to go, and my desire of what alignment with someone else looks like for me. So it came to me this topic of when being chosen is enough, navigating love without dependency. So, a little bit of background for you guys on where this choice for conversation tonight came from. It came from recent mm, experiences. That's the word I use. I wanted to say pursuits. That was what was coming to my mind, but that wasn't the best word. Recent experiences with men in Tulsa, because that's where I currently live and that's where I'm going to die. But men in Tulsa, and just how I have felt that the men that have approached me, not just an initial conversation, more so into when we get to that space of actually engaging and talking with one another. I've seen some things, right? I've gotten this feeling that through the interaction that there's a certain of woman, there's a certain type of place that they may want this woman to be, and how it lines up with them before they even know fully this woman, her life, her pursuits, her hopes, her dreams, her aspirations. It just seems as though when I meet someone, they want me to instantly come into a position that they've set aside for whoever their significant other, who they want that person to be. But it comes off as, uh I guess, a desire to be needed, a desire not just to necessarily be needed, but to be depended upon. If I just met you, I'm not going to depend on you for anything, right? Let's just put that all the way out there. If I just met you, I don't come with dependency. When it comes to me and how I maneuver, how I look at things, I would like to say that I'd like to feel and say that I'm different from most women, right? There has been a perception, if you will, that with all the ladies, the influencers and stuff online, people get so up in that on both sides, like women trying to be those type of women because they feel like the other women, the influencers, are being chosen, that they have to do all these things to get chosen. And then for the men, it's just like, well, I can't get a good quality type woman if I'm not leading with these things, if I don't present all this stuff to make her feel like she needs me or that she depends on me, then I'm not gonna get a good woman. Y'all all crazy. That's what I'm finna say in those scenarios. Like, that's ludicrous in the words of Mike Tyson, right? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. When I see people come off like that, it's like I feel like you're not comfortable in your own skin or comfortable in the spaces that you've grown to be in. I had a gentleman in before, long before we connected with one another. He was used to facilitating certain things for the women that he was engaging with, whether it's getting hair done, nails done, everything did. Y'all know me. I love my music quotes. But he just got so accustomed, I guess, to the way that he was looked at in being able to do those things, that he then led with that for every woman that he met beyond that point, so much so to where it was a constant cycle. He was in that hamster wheel of having to present himself over and over and over again in the same way, but feeling like it was a different way to each woman that he had met and that he had engaged with. If you're coming in and joining me now, hey, hello, it's your girl Nicole LaTreece. Tonight or today, we're talking about when being chosen is enough, navigating love without dependency. But the gentleman I'm speaking of is just like when he got to me, what he had was enough, right? Like, the way I looked at it, what he had was enough for a starting point. You weren't completely broke. Um, you weren't necessarily living outside of your means. He wasn't. He wasn't what do I want to he wasn't he had a job. He had his own business that he was pursuing. Like, he had a lot going for him that a woman such as myself meeting him, that's a good starting point. Now, if you not about nothing, if you drink all day, if you smoke all day, if you out here like just straight hustling with no plan, that's not the type of person for me. But then it got to a point to where I felt like my vibe, my personality, my vibe, other things were completely in sync, and it looked like it should have been a good match because we were both determined to make a good future for not only ourselves but our children as well. But then something shifted within that individual, that he felt like he was no longer good enough for where we were growing to. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what, you know, just made it the thing that he was like, well, I'm not the type of person who can give you what you need. In my mind, you were already giving me everything that I needed, everything that I wanted, everything that I didn't have to ask for. But somehow, some way, he felt like that wasn't enough. So that leads me to my first point that I want to talk about, understanding need versus choice. There's a difference, right? So this is a conversation, like really to the fellas, like as a woman who is interested in engaging with you guys, not just on a romantic, intimate space, but just in life, period. Because I have other women who have the same mindset and same type of questions or want the same type of insight that I provide. So I'm just the one that's willing to ask it, right? So for me, and like one question to ponder on is, what does it look like for a woman to choose you as a man without needing you, right? Because if a woman comes into the space with you, and this is coming from a woman who has navigated her own abandonment issues or abandonment challenges. I won't call them issues because I'm a conqueror and I've overcome them. But abandonment challenges lead a person, they led me to a sense of neediness, right? So it's just like before now, like over the past several years, before now, I was that type of person that was like, ooh, I'm here. Pick me, pick me. You ain't the best person in the world, but I don't want to be by myself. So pick me, pick me. That's a needy type of behavior. Or wanting to spend so much time talking to that person when schedules just naturally, needed a little bit more space. Now, fast forward, I'm the type of woman where it's just like, I do have my own things going on, but I am not in a position any longer where I need a man or a significant other in the beginning to kind of facilitate anything for me, right? Because I feel like as a woman, when you need a man to come in and facilitate certain things for you, you're already operating at a deficit because you don't have what it is that you need prior to having someone else fill that space for you. And when you don't have what you need and then you allow someone else to come in, then they provide it how they see fit. They provide it according to what they feel like you're worthy of. They provide it according to what they feel would hold you in a certain position. We're not going to, that C word is going to come out eventually. And if you don't know what that C word is, that C word is control. We trying to dispel all of that in this first point, understanding the difference between a need and a choice. Love, a healthy sense of dependency, should be built over time. It should not be something that either person instantly comes in with the requirement of. I have had people put that requirement on me that, hey, I want this. I need things to look like this. Bruh, I don't know you. And I surely don't owe you that. We just met. We're taking the time to get to know one another. Now, if it was, several months or several years down the line, then yes, we should have some sort of foundation, some sort of order that we have put in place to know and honor what the other person has a desire for. But upon initially meeting, you have that requirement of me that you want my interactions with you to look a certain way. I'm sorry, but they won't. Some people feel like if I'm not needed, I'm not loved. Let me tell you, that's a myth. You are loved. You're loved in so many different ways, as a sibling, as a son or daughter, as a friend, as a coworker. There is love that you have that flows all throughout your life. Now, for most of us, we give it different designations. We give the love that we receive from different people different hierarchies to say which one is important. All love is important. But for the sake of this conversation, when it comes specifically to intimate relationships, when it comes to intimate Love, that means boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, husband, wife, like real significant other. Love does not equal dependency, and love should not be built on the foundation of dependency, because you are your own individual self and that person is their own individual self. There has to be parts of each of you separately that you have in place to be able to facilitate a relationship full of healthy interdependence. Interdependence is where you can go back and forth on your sense of dependency, but your sense of dependency on someone else is not greater than your ability to be dependent on just yourself. It has to be a healthy balance. Like, one way I can say it is you should appreciate that your significant other has books that they like that aren't the same books that you like, or that person has other interests that aren't your same interests, that they have a group of friends that they can go hang out with, and you have your own group of friends that you can hang out with. And then when you guys come back together as a together unit, you're refreshed, you're rejuvenated, you're re energized because you did get the opportunity to take a somewhat normal, healthy break, right? Like, you can love this person, you can love they dirty draws, but you should never allow yourself, this is just my honest, educated opinion, you should never allow yourself to be completely dependent on somebody else, because we are naturally born to die. We are born, that clock starts, and then it stops. In most relationships, one person outlives the other. And I'm not saying 100% bank on the day that that person is going to die. Bank on the understanding that it's going to happen. So if you're completely dependent on this person for absolutely everything, and like, I've had conversations with older ladies, way older than me, and back in the day, like, a woman had to be dependent on a man to get a bank account, to drive the car, to do like all the normal things that we as women do nowadays. At some point, permission was asked before we could do it. Now we've grown into a space of interdependency. And even in the relationship spaces, that's changed too, because now women are choosing to be single as opposed to having to deal with a lot of foolishness. We don't want to be single. Let me put myself in that category because I am one of those women. We don't want to be single, but we don't want a life full of chaos and lack of clarity and misunderstandings and like just the overall general foolishness that we've had to experience lately in dealing with the men that we come in contact with.
Just um, the cookies baked into one square little rectangle.
Layla, take them out and I will have to do it when I get done. I don't know why you went in the living room in the first place. You should have been keeping an eye on the cookies. No, you didn't, because I heard you go in the living room. She tried it. Back to this conversation. So, yes, maintain a sense of healthy interdependency. You started in this world solo dolo. You have your own family, you have your own set of dynamics, you have your own things, your own set of programming that was downloaded to you, right? Cherish that. Don't try to be selfish. Don't try to be the type of person that excludes your significant other. Have these conversations. Figure out ways to where you can have a healthy set of boundaries. And if you are in a relational dynamic to where every time you go somewhere and the trust hasn't been broken, I got to put that disclaimer out there. and your significant other is like, well, where are you going? What are you doing? Who you gonna be with? What y'all gonna be doing? There may be another question underneath that needs to be really asked and addressed. But you should be able to have conversations, especially from the jump of forming a relationship, on what maintaining healthy, interdependent boundaries look like for you. Because healthy, interdependent boundaries can lead to a better sense of emotional codependency. So, emotional codependency is where when you and your significant other are going through it, or as you guys continue to grow, there is an emotional connection that should evolve between the two people. Notice I said two, not three, not a harem. That should evolve between the two people to where if I'm feeling some type of way, if I'm hurt or if I'm upset by us having a healthy emotional codependency, you should be able to at least tell when something is wrong, when I'm not feeling the best emotionally. And then it would lead you, because we are interdependent, to switch into the healthy dependency that the relationship should naturally grow into, and say, hey babe, like, what's going on? What's wrong with you? What, what do you need? Who I need to go fight? Who did it and what for? That's just how I want my man to be. But that's neither here nor there, right? But so a healthy sense of interdependency should be expressed to promote a healthy sense of codependency when in a relationship. Self-sufficiency, sorry, when you can maintain things for yourself, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, when you can hold yourself down, but you are making a choice to do this thing called life with someone else, it should strengthen, not threaten your relationship. And if you are experiencing it to where it is threatening your relationship, maybe you need to go back and reevaluate some of your relationship dynamics and see where the breakdown is. Second thing I want to talk about is the purpose driven women. If a woman is on her P's and her Q's, if a woman is doing her thing and making things happen, that is a purpose driven woman. I am 41 upon engaging in this conversation with you. I am a very purpose driven woman. I have gone through enough of life to know I got some things that I need to get done. I have some things that I need to get taken care of in order to be able to be in the active pursuit of what I want my life to look like, right? And in that active pursuit of what I want my life to look like, there is space being held for a significant other. As of right now, since that is within the scope of the vision for my purpose, that's the only space that I can hold. I can't be like, oh, he has to be, 6 foot, make $100,000 a year, drive this. This is what he likes to do. I can't be 100% specific in those regards because I don't know who God has in store for me, right? So, right now, my focus is to pay attention to my actual purpose. What are my priorities within my purpose? It is God first, myself second, my daughter third. My household and lifestyle falls in after that. My dogs. There are priorities that a purpose driven woman is going to have in her life to make sure that she is in active pursuit of the life that it is that she wants. And when you come into that space as a man, it is not your goal. It shouldn't be your purpose to disrupt that. It should be to sit back and first observe and notice how she moves, how she carries herself, how she goes about the things that she does. Engage in a conversation with her. See what she feels her purpose is. See what her priorities lie. Or, yeah, see where her priorities lie. See what her goals are for the future, and then determine if based on those things that's in alignment with you. And ladies, I'm telling you to do the same thing. So essentially, you need to be engaging in more deeper than surface level conversations to be able to understand and determine these things. Because as a woman, being rooted in my purpose, it's going to impact how I love, how I lead, and how I live. Like, it's also going to um, be demonstrated on how I'm intentional, right? So if I'm intentional about how I am in my own life, then I am for sure going to be intentional about how I will allow someone else to show up in my life, because that's a healthy way that I have to allow something to happen. If I am good with money, and these are just examples that I'm giving you. If I am good with money, if I have a house, if I have a car, if I am successful in my business, I cannot allow myself to get in alignment with someone who doesn't have a car, who is not truly on their business, who doesn't have a desire to own or understand what it means to operate their own business. I can't, as who I am right now in my singlehood, in my single life, and being comfortable with who I am right now, allow myself to align or engage an individual who that is where they are. Or even like the example I gave not too long ago, where, the gentleman felt like he was no longer the best person for me to engage with. Okay. And even though I said it like that, it was not an easy okay. But with the woman that I had become within our interactions, I had no choice but to say okay to someone who wanted to walk away. I had no choice but to say okay to all the unknowns that follow, because I'm still here and I'm still operating within my purpose. If you choose for us to no longer be a part of your purpose, what can I really do? Especially after, like trying a little bit beyond the point of where I should have, to be like, nah, this ain't what we need to be doing. And that's okay. My love is intentional. Like, it won't be something that's put into a space of obligation. If you feel like I said, where you are within your purpose, you want something different, and we're not like engaged in a seriously committed exclusive relationship for, a certain time, what do you really want and or expect me to do? This whole point of this conversation is when being chosen is enough. All right, you chose me for one point and you stopped choosing me at another. Okay, that was enough on both fronts. It was enough when you chose me, because I'm, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is what's up. Like, we navigating through all these experiences and we hanging out and we doing our thing, and we just having a good time, getting to know each other, growing together. But then you decided you didn't want to grow with me. Okay, that's a too. Like, I've been married before. Like, I can't make someone stay. I can't make someone be invested in a space where they don't want to be. And we grown. Like, there are different ways to articulate what you need, instead of just saying like it's done if you don't want it to be done. Because when you tell somebody it's done and that other person says okay, there's no spinning the block. There's no let me try to get them back. In most cases, that person has made a commitment for themselves to move on. And evolved man would know the difference, right? Because we talk about evolution. I am a mindset evolution coach. So it's just like my mind is always a little bit higher. It thinks differently, it evaluates in a whole different space. Um, So I will say, like, for me moving forward in the future, I would like to have an evolved man, right? An emotionally mature, evolved man. When it comes to the dynamic of being chosen versus needed, an evolved man knows what being chosen is like, right? Because you can put your bid out there. But if you feel like the woman is attractive, then there are other men that, in naturally being able to see this woman, are going to feel as though she's attractive as well. You can put your bid out there, but ultimately it is up to the woman to choose which suitor works best for her in that scenario. Now, I ain't saying you gotta be a player, but you can just crush a little bit. Leave your options available until you know which option you want to make a priority. But even with saying all of that, there's a difference, right? Because some people, y'all are forever wanting just to keep your options open. And if that's what you want, be honest about it, but let other people know. And you'll find somebody who's on the same time that you on, but you'll find more people that are not. We're getting older. As you get older, you should become more firm and more solid in what it is that you need. An elevated man will know that if a woman chooses her, if an evolved man and elevated, they'll know that when a woman chooses her or chooses him, it's an honor. It is not something to be taken lightly. It is not something to be played with. It is not something that you can just be like, okay, she chose me. I'm going to do a little bit. That woman still has a choice what to do beyond even that, especially if you guys are not yet married. But a needed man, he's not that evolved. Like I said, he is the type of person who has been able to see what it makes him feel like to feel needed, from a woman who needs him to pay to get her hair done, pay to get her nails done, pay all her bills. Like, all of that becomes tiring, but it does become something that becomes the foundation of your relationship. And when you spend so much time leading that way, and a woman becomes accustomed to your leadership in that way, you can't get fed up, you can't get exhausted, you can't get overwhelmed when that's all she ends up wanting and expecting. And when you're ready to stop doing that and want to switch things up, then that's when you end up with problems and confusion in your household or in your relationship dynamic, because you're changing the very relationship dynamic that you started with. Understand what it means to be chosen versus needed, and ask yourself, as a man, which man are you? Are you a man who is cool with being chosen? Or are you a man who wants someone who instantly needs you? You'll be able to find women that will facilitate both spaces. But if you are a man who is um, honored by being chosen, sorry, and you come across a woman who has a need, like a needy woman, don't engage in it in the beginning. Know yourself and trust yourself that much more, to where it's just like, okay, I can tell that this woman, like, she needs this and she needs that. And I'm not in a position to where I want to spend the rest of my life with someone who instantly needs so much of me. We should grow to need one another, specifically, right? Like, we need each other now, because man can't have a baby without a woman, and woman can't have a baby without a man. There are certain things that when a woman and a man come together, just in life period, there's so much growth that can happen and maturity that occurs on both sides, because I, as a woman, am going to receive things from a man that help me process things more logically. Y'all know this conversation. They like to say men are more logical and women are more emotional. And then a man in like engaging with me, sorry, he will be able to hopefully gather more things emotionally, to where it's just like, he can self-regulate himself. He can help me to be able to regulate or be aware of when I'm going through different regulatory periods. And he can also be a little bit more emotionally sensitive to our children as they're navigating the dynamics of just basically understanding that they have emotions in the first place. But also in the space of like the evolved man's response, there is a difference between insecurity and confidence. And then I would even go so further as to say, based on my own experiences, there is a difference between confidence and arrogance. So, insecurities, if because all I can do is draw off of my own experiences. I've told y'all that before. If what I do just in my natural life, like how I think, how I speak, how I carry myself, how elevated I am, how I parent, how I go about running my business, how successful my business is or ain't, it's based on your perspective of what it is, especially if you don't know all the details. But if any of what I do makes you feel some type of way, and that way that it makes you feel is more so on the insecure side, then that would say that there is something that is lacking, possibly within your dynamic, your physical self, your mental self, your emotional self, your spiritual self, whatever it is. But that has nothing to do with me. Like, I didn't make it happen, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't like, oh babe, look at my success, look at all this that I'm doing, why don't you do it like I like? If I Because I'm not that type of person. If I don't do all of that, but in your perspective of who you think I am, how successful you think I am, and where you think I'm going to go, if that makes you feel some type of way, hey, be an evolved person and come to me and talk to me. If you are feeling that exact feeling right now with your significant other and where you are, go have a conversation with him or her. If you want your relationship to get better, if you want it to get to real growth and not self sabotage or destruction, I encourage you to have that conversation. I've been there before, and yeah, it ended in self sabotage. So it's just like, if you don't want those same outcomes, have the conversation. I mean, and I don't understand it. Like, if you're engaging with someone, if you're kissing this person, if you're sleeping with this person, if you're living with this person, I don't understand how y'all can grow into a space of feeling so comfortable with that in those spaces, but you're not comfortable to really be having conversations about what your relationship really needs in order to be successful and to grow. It just, oh, it blows my mind straight up, because y'all are some wild people. Straight up. So we talked about the insecure side. So then you go into the confidence space, like knowing who you are, what it is that you bring to the table, what it is that you're trying to do, what it is that where it is that you're going, like all of those things. If you can move safely in those spaces of knowing who you are, that's the confidence you should have, right? Like, Shakespeare said it best, to thine own self be true. And I talked about it at the beginning of this conversation, that goes into that interdependent space. And it has to be interdependent because you've made the choice to enter into an experience or a relationship with this person. So there is a sense of dependency, especially as y'all evolve, when kids are involved, when marriage happens, like all of that stuff. Hopefully, marriage, then kids. Yeah, it's a ghost in my room. It just moved by itself. Um, if there is a relationship that is blooming, that is budding, that has even been established, but y'all are at a point to where it's just like, what's wrong with us? We weren't these types of people. Go back and look at the dependency shift. Did you go more so from the interdependent space where y'all could fully function outside of each other? Y'all were doing well where you could function together, more so into a dependent space where there is something that completely stopped or something that now lacking, to where y'all may need to have a conversation to see where your foundation is and how you need to rebuild it to get to those points. But confidently, you should be able to say, I know who I am. I know what I bring. I know how I operate. I know. So I'll give you a legitimate, my situation that I talked about, it wasn't me. It wasn't. The person did not know how to be with someone like me, someone who carries himself in a specific manner, someone who is a honorer of their word, someone who holds other people accountable. If you say you're going to do something, do the very thing that you said you was going to do. I hold myself to that same standard, so I'd be crazy not to hold you to the same standard too. Someone who didn't need anyone to facilitate something for them. I'm very weird, right? And this is a little bit of a cheat code, I guess, if you will. I don't like asking people to do things for me, right? I know some of you are watching like, but if you don't like asking people to do things for you, then how do people know to do things for you? I'm a vocal person, right? And I am the type of person, I'll speak on my life, especially if we're in that space to where you do have the permission and or authority, the clearance level, I'll say it like that, to know really what's going on in my life. And if you are afforded that space to do that, to be there, to bear witness to those things, I am the type of person, I appreciate it more if you do it because you want to do it, right? Not as opposed to babe, my windshield is cracked. Can you give me $350 so I can get my windshield cracked? If you see it's cracked and you want to, get it facilitated, get it facilitated. And I'm not using that like an example that I'm throwing out and saying somebody has to do, but I'm just saying that's how I operate. I appreciate it more because I've had an experience previously in life where I felt like I've always let people lead how they're going to lead, meaning show me who you are, how you get down, your perspective on everything. Just show me your way, right? So that way you can't say that I automatically expected this thing from you. I grew expectations simply because that's what you showed me, but I didn't instantly, that expectation is not just mine. So if it becomes something that I'm accustomed to, I guess I'll put it like that. I don't, when I'm interacting with somebody, other than like communication, no smoking, be a person of your word, be somebody of integrity. Other than those things, I don't have expectations on people. I have things that I am shown and then things that I become accustomed to. So I had an experience before. This is a completely different experience where the gentleman was raised to open doors for ladies. I wasn't the type of girl and or young lady who ever had that experience. So when something is foreign to you, you will do one of two things. You will embrace it because you might just be that comfortable in your skin, or you will kind of fight against it because you're unsure of like whatever the reason is. For me, I fought against it. It just wasn't what I was used to, and I didn't feel that it was necessary, right? But as time went on, and I got tired of hearing, you don't ever let me open your car door, don't touch the door, out of hearing all of that, it got to a point to where it's like, okay, I became accustomed to it. It was no muss, no fuss, right? If he did it, he did it. If he didn't, he didn't. But then I grew accustomed to it because it was something that he did on a consistent basis. So I got accustomed to it. Life went on. That became a part of life, right? So when the relationship was dissolving, and then it finally dissolved, all of that stopped. And I mean, it stopped before the relationship fully dissolved. The way that translated to me was certain things being done are conditional. So it's like a little kid. If I'm behaving well, I get rewarded with certain things and certain behaviors from certain people. When they feel like I'm not doing well, then I don't get rewarded with certain things and certain behaviors. Those things get taken away. I never want to be in a situation to where I feel as though things are conditional. Conditional love is the worst. Conditional love can also come from that sense of dependency, right? Because if you're coming into an experience, if you are a woman and you're coming into an experience where you need a man to, my question is fully from whoever was doing it for you before to where you could have a good sense of being able to know who you are, whether it's your father, whether it is, sometimes brothers be facilitating everything for their sisters, jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship to where you always have somebody who does those things for you. You need a space, you need a time, you need a period in your life to where you know what it looks like to do things for yourself. Because when you know what it looks like to do things for yourself fully, you appreciate when someone else wants to come in and offer to lighten the load, not be told to that they have to, not be put in a place of obligation instantly where they have to, but where you can grow to say, you know what, man, I appreciate that every morning he does this. Or man, every day when I get home from work, he done made the bed. And if you are, this conversation is for fellas, but fellas, if you are rocking with this conversation, you can put yourself in a dynamic to where you can flip certain things to match the woman in your life. But when you get to a point to where you choose to have someone in your life and you choose to have that person do certain things for you, it's just like, okay, like your load being lightened naturally, not because it has to be, not because you tell somebody that's what they have to do, but because that's where y'all naturally grow to. Like, that's a beautiful place and it's a beautiful space because even if the relationship was to dissolve, you kind of you don't lose as much. You lose like a great impact from that person no longer being in your life, but it's not completely detrimental to where it's just like, dang, I don't even know what to do. I don't know what it looks like to have my own bank account. I don't know what it looks like, to not have a car note. I don't know, what I'm saying? Whatever your dynamic is, like when you still know your sense of self, when you still know your sense of who you are and where it is that you're going, when you still know your sense of how you contribute to the way your life or y'all's life looks, man, I'm telling you, there's no greater feeling than it because then I can look at and if it was me, I'd be able to look at my significant other and be like, you know what, like that's my man over there, but he don't dominate me. He not trying to control me. Like we doing this thing together for real. Y'all, the apples is out. Like, I guess I'm excited about that day coming to pass for me. Uh, but it's just good. And then it also puts you into a space to where You don't have to be stuck on those gender roles. Gender roles are so washed out, they so outdated. Like it don't matter who do what. If we a team, we a team. Yes, y'all should be everyone. We all, I'll put it like that. We all should be engaging in conversation about. Yeah, I'm sorry. Excuse me. We should all be engaging in conversations about what does it look like for the dynamic of our household to be taken care of. What does it look like for the dynamic of our children when it comes to providing their level of care, selecting doctors, dentists, vision specialists, whatever the case may be. You should get into a point to where it ain't women cooking in the kitchen, men taking out the trash, washing the cars. Like, all right, this week, baby, what do we need to get done? Let's make a list. All right, cool. Can you do this? All right, then I can do that. Can you do that? All right, I can do this. All right, we both need to, come together and do this specific task together. Whatever it looks like for you, it's not going to come to be until you're sitting down and having these types of conversations to make sure that those things are put in place. Um, man, so sometimes with that, because I've had what I felt, I told y'all, men who have felt like I should instantly need them because they are who they are. They are, quote unquote, that guy. I don't know if you're that guy. I'm just being all the way honest. You could grow to be that guy for me, but that guy for me, sometimes it don't look like the material things that people present with. But I've also had an interesting perspective on my experience with getting to know men, the men that I have in Tulsa here lately. There's been a lot of ego that's been in the mix. To feel like when you instantly meet a woman that you are 1000% that guy, while you can feel like you're that guy for yourself and that be a part of your confidence, you are not 1000% that guy for that woman. You don't know what her perspective of that guy is. Like you could be, I don't know, 5'7" light skin, and she wants somebody who's 6'2" dark skin, 210 pounds. You can't instantly go up to people and just be like, "Yeah, hi, my name is that dude." Over here, that don't work. I'm just gonna look at you like, okay. Like that is my natural default response. And then also pride too. Like not just being able to say what it is, the fact that if you messed up, you messed up. If you want to take a break, but you won't be over to other people, like I just ego and pride have no place when it comes to a dynamic with me. That's one of the most unattractive things that I've ever experienced is for someone to be very egotistical. I had a gentleman, I mentioned this before, but and we got to a point to where every time we would engage in conversation, he had to one up me in the conversation. Like he had something based on what I started talking about. And I'm like, sir, I'm 41 years old. Now, while I'm willing to learn the natural order of conversation and experiences, you're not going to sit up here and feel like you got to tell me, you got to teach me. I'm not 22, I'm 41. There's a lot of stuff that I already know. If you want me to get accustomed to things that are in your life, okay, I'm open to doing that. But if you are like, oh, well, you got to, this is dumb, but it's the only reference that came to my head. You got to season my chicken with these spices. But okay, I'll get accustomed to doing that. But if I'm cooking for you for the first time, I'm not gonna know that what your spices or season preferences are. I'm just gonna do what I do, and then if you like it, you like it. If you don't, we can talk about it. But I'm not instantly gonna know you like Morton season all salt instead of Laurie season salt. And that's just an example. But some people are so egotistical that it's just like, oh, I don't like your food because you didn't use this or you didn't do that. All right, I don't have to cook for you no more. But a lot of what I've also noticed when these egotistical and prideful moments come out for men, it is because there is a space of vulnerability that presents itself. And it's just like I said, the gentleman that I have had the pleasure of just engaging in conversation with, and the one that, I was actually seeing, is just like, when y'all don't know what to do with me, it makes them feel vulnerable. And when they feel vulnerable, it's like, no, you scratching at the surface of something that I didn't want nobody to touch. I didn't want nobody to see. I didn't want anybody to know that this is the way that I feel. That's okay. I don't hold that against you. You're a human going through a spiritual experience. Like, but just be okay with being vulnerable. If I don't make fun of you, if I don't make you feel some type of way, like where, you're like, because, and this is a real example. I was told I am very articulate. I was like, oh, okay, thank you for the compliment. No, intelligent. It's like, oh, thank you for the compliment. And I went back to watching the movie at the time. And then another comment was made, was like, I'm not that smart. I'm sorry, what? Where did that come from? Like, and while I appreciated the space of that individual sharing their vulnerability, you don't have to compare yourself to me. I'm not, running around here speaking Japanese, Mandarin, and Cantonese all at the same time. I know those are all Asian languages. Don't judge me. But I'm not doing that. I choose to carry myself in a certain way. I choose to educate myself on things that I don't know. I choose to speak in a proper way, and I choose to speak with clarity. So that way there are no misunderstandings, there's no misconceptions, like you know what it is. But my thing that I found funny was, it's just like, you don't have to keep that line of thinking going. If that's how you feel, okay, but what can you do from this point on to make yourself feel like you are, or to actually become that person? Because it was interesting when the person said that, yeah, we went to like the same high school. So I'm sorry, you don't feel like, you're as intelligent and or articulate as I am. You're not dumb. And we've been rocking for this long, and I haven't said anything about the way that you speak. Like, people in this world are crazy. Like, in that dynamic of what I just said, it's about creating a space of mutual support without competition. Do not compare yourself to me. We can both, kind of evolve and be in the same space and feel comfortable about how we hold conversations, or, the way we go about cooking, or the types of shows that we watch, or the books that we read. Like, we can grow to be in alignment in the areas of life where we're not, but it doesn't have to be detrimental to the relationship. That's growth, that's evolution. You can, if you feel like I'm intelligent and articulate, and if you want to be intelligent and articulate as well, guess what? All you got to do is just continue to engage in conversation with me. Go out and find some more books or audio books for you to listen to and or read, and also engage with other people. Look at your environment. Elevate yourself. So then you can come back to me, and we can both be some elevated individuals, getting it in, living life, doing this thing that we need to do, and be successful on all fronts. But don't feel like you have to compare yourself or be in competition with me when we're in a relationship. You're fighting yourself. You're the salmon and the stream. And there's no space for me in those dynamics. And then the last thing I want to talk about, like, is, real love and partnership, right? Because when it comes to navigating dependency, you have codependency and you have interdependency, both of which are healthy, both of which are not just dependency, right? Because if it's interdependency, interdependency means You can healthily go back and forth between the space of just what you need and navigate the space of what your significant other needs. Codependency is where two people are operating on the same wavelength for dependency, to where the give and take is always equaled out, right? So there may be sometimes, just depending on what's going on, where I'm giving 60 and you may be giving 40. That's pretty much my lowest level. I used to say 75 and 25, but I don't think I want to be operating with someone who's operating at 25% at any time. So I may be giving 60, you may be giving 40, just depending on what's going on in life. At some point, that 60 and that 40, it may switch to where I'm giving 40, you're giving 60. And then we balance out to where it's like 50-50 as much as possible. But all of that comes from a space of wanting to have a love that is rooted in purpose, growth, and choice, not just survival. I don't want to be with somebody out of survival. I don't want to be with someone who feels like they have to be with someone out of a survival necessity. We here. As long as we take care of ourselves, as long as we do the best of our ability, our our ultimate end date is not our own anyways. But I don't want to be with someone who's just surviving. I want to be with someone who is thriving and growing, because that's the very thing that I'm trying to do. Also, understand that there's a freedom that comes, a freedom and responsibility that comes with being chosen, right? I talked about this a little bit earlier. If someone does make it a point to choose you, now this goes to everybody, male and female. If someone presents you with the opportunity that they choose you, they have a freedom in being able to choose whomever they want, right? In being chosen, you still have a responsibility to honor that space of being chosen. And honoring it looks different for all different types of relationship dynamics. But as a woman, and I'm speaking from my standpoint, as a woman who chooses a particular man, it is your responsibility with me to figure out what is needed now that you are in the space of being chosen. What communication styles or frequency do we need to be on in order to make that space continue to be what it is? What like physical hangouts and spending times and engagements do we need to be doing to make sure that we both stay in that space of you being chosen? What spiritual, what mental, like what is needed to be done now that you are in the space of actually being chosen? Because for most people, it's a sacred space. And to be within that sacred space, you also have to understand your role and dynamic of spiritual and emotional maturity. I, as a 40-year-old woman, having an 11-year-old daughter, I do not want a grown boy. I do not want someone who is not emotionally mature. Emotionally mature is multifaceted. You can be someone who is emotionally aware, meaning you are aware of how you are when you are in your emotional states. There is emotional intention. Emotional intention to me is where you carry your own weight, right? You're not going to put your emotional challenges, you're not going to put your emotional instabilities, you're not going to put your emotional vulnerabilities off on anyone else. You're going to try your best to regulate and work through whatever emotional challenges you may be having at that time. And we can still talk about it, but those things are not fully going to be put on me because I cannot fully put those on you. You don't know, and I'm a Pisces. So I'm pretty sure y'all don't want the emotional weight of this Pisces woman on you. But when you understand like your role of the spiritual and emotional maturity, that is something that when done right, that is something when understood, addressed, and resolved can lead to a good place of sustaining love. I don't know about y'all, but my last one, my next one is gonna be my last one. And we gonna be in love and love and love. And y'all gonna get tired of hearing about us, but we gonna be one for the record books. So I'm gonna leave y'all today with a couple questions, fellas, specifically. Can you handle being with a woman who chooses you but doesn't need you? What does that even look like to you? Ladies, are you ready to choose love from a place of fullness instead of emptiness? Mm. For everyone, have you ever mistaken being needed for being truly loved? Does being needed validate your worth in a relationship? Or wait, does being needed validate your worth in a relationship, or being valued validate your worth? Can you create a space in your relationship for growth outside of each other? Healthy growth, growth to where y'all can still come back together. And if you have done any sort of lying, manipulating, gaslighting, cheating with your significant other and broken the trust in any way, I don't know if y'all can healthily grow outside of one another. In what ways have you attached your identity to someone needing you? And lastly, what does it mean to be someone worth choosing every day? Right? Because being in a relationship, being able to get to that place of sustained love, you have to be doing things for that person to choose to want to be with you every single day of their lives. Life in love is a choice. So choose wisely, my viewers. I thank each and every one of you guys for coming in and tuning in with me earlier. Like I said, Sunday Sit Down is moving to a new time, 3 to 4 p.m. Same bat, same bat channel, just a new bat time. And then I opened this conversation talking about like a special announcement and why I had to move the Sunday sit down from 7 o'clock to now at 3 o'clock and end at four. I have been afforded through Cake Doubles a very good opportunity to be able to be in a staple place on Sundays starting at 6 p.m. Every Sunday, I will be out at Tisdale's in the front. Tisdale's, for many of y'all that know, is the newer restaurant, newer cigar bar and lounge. I'm sorry, that opened on Greenwood, where Lefties used to be. It's right on the corner of Greenwood and Archer, facing south. Yes. So that is where your girl Cake and Cake Doubles will be every Sunday. I'm super excited. Thank you to Rodney and his team for allowing me the space to be out there and to give their patrons some sweet treats. So I will see you guys on the next episode of the Sunday Sit Down, where we will be getting deeper into talking about this new series that we're in of activating in your purpose always and in all ways. Y'all come check me out tonight at Tisdale's. I'll be out there. I'm gonna head out there here in just a little bit. But I love each and every one of you guys. I wish you all the best. I hope you are afforded the opportunity to have a good life filled with real love and all of the above. So until next Sunday, I love